The fanbase of Star Citizen is nothing if not forgiving, but paying extra money to upgrade ships you've already purchased for a game that already cost $800 million might be a step too far. Well, it turns out CIG realised they could monetize other areas of the game and have put in components which many people are now classing as pay-to-win. You see, they decided to release so-called blades, AI components that allow you to upgrade your ship to be more performative. Yes, each blade comes with a drawback, but overall they do bring benefits, and significantly so. And for this, they were charging real-world cash. So in a bit, we will dive into exactly what went on, but many of you will probably be all aware of all of those details. So to start with, I want to give you my own thoughts, my take on what CIG are doing here. So let's start with the obvious, and let's be pretty blunt about it. Star Citizen has taken a lot of money at this point. Now, I know a lot of people, a lot of super fans out there, perhaps the wows, perhaps real hardcore people, they don't like it when people bring up the funding side of Star Citizen, preferring you instead to just focus on the game. But the fact is that yes, Star Citizen has taken a lot of money, and this is a big part of the game's identity at this point. The figure right now sits at a staggering $800 million. Now, you'd think that would be more than enough to get the game out of the door. Apparently not so. Apparently it does cover ongoing costs. Now, on the CIG website, and I'll be sure to link this in the video description below, CIG do publish the yearly trading costs, and I'll put that on the screen right here. There's a lot of different factors going on here, but the important part, I think, for this particular conversation is at the bottom of this sheet, this chart, this table. Now, interestingly, if we total up the total cost here year by year, from 2012 all the way through to 2023, we come to a very interesting figure. It totals $793.8 million. In short, whilst Star Citizen's public funding, it's crowdsourced money that we can actually track because it's referenced publicly, and that totals to a massive $822 million. We also know that there's some private equity investment, some of it coming from the Caldors, which is quite a few tens of millions more as well on top of this. Bottom line then, it seems that the amount of money that they're taking in is very close to the amount of money they appear to be spending. In my eyes then, it's understandable that some people out there have been speculating that this just may be why CIG are introducing new paid components onto their store. So to get things perfectly clear here, and to be absolutely fair to CIG, they did introduce the idea of blades, although I don't think they were called blades back then, as a stretch goal for reaching the $47 million in funding mark. These were part of a funding goal, essentially the ability to upgrade your ships. That funding goal was obviously hit, and CIG here, 13 years later, are now potentially implementing that feature. So this isn't something new that's come out of the left field. This is an idea that's been there all along. What is new is the fact that now they've introduced the blades, that they're coming as a store component, that they're only available directly through the store via a purchase with real-world cash. So what this does is open up a very strange scenario. It's somewhat more than pay-to-win in some ways. And I say that because it could have led to a very strange scenario, and may well lead to this self-same strange scenario. What's potentially going to happen here is that you're going to have two people who have purchased the exact same ship from the CIG pledge store. So that ship may be just $40, it may be $100, it may be a few $100s. Either way, they've purchased the exact same ship. The second person then goes back to the store and buys a load of blade upgrades. They therefore spent more money on their ship, and it's going to have significant advantages over the first person who bought the exact same ship. And what this does is paint a very clear picture that means the more you spend, the more advantages you get, even if you've both bought the exact same ship. Now, there are a few people out there who were pointing out that this isn't pay to win. I'm not sure in which logical gymnastic world they try and twist that round to be not pay to win, because, well, it's absolutely ridiculous. I guess in their world, it doesn't mean that you're instantly going to win the game. It's not the case that you put the coin in the machine and you're guaranteed to win. But, you know, in what world is that actually pay to win anyway? There's not really any games where you just put the money in and you're guaranteed to win. At least that's not my common understanding of the definition. But, you know, let's not drop into semantics here. Ultimately, my personal take on this, my own thoughts, which this video is really about, is that CIG have finally pushed things way too far. A lot of people may argue they've done that in the past with their hugely massive multi-thousand-pound ship packages, but those could have been argued to be just pledge items. You're pledging for the game, you're funding the game through purchasing ships. I think this takes things a little bit further, well, significantly further really, because it fundamentally changes the balance of the game. And that's a problem because not only are you now pledging for the game via purchasing ships, but you're also funding the game through monetization packages. Some people may not see the distinction there, but I want to point out that I very clearly do see a distinction. If you're going to buy a ship, yes, you could call that pay to win, but ultimately CIG have always packaged those as pledges. You're kind of donating money towards the project. Whilst that's not necessarily a definition I agree with, it is a definition that a lot of people do use. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got these ship upgrades, these blades, these AI components, and they do give you distinct advantages, even if each of them do come with some minor drawbacks. Ultimately, you may be taking 2 steps back, but you're taking 3 steps forward by using a blade. So yeah, this is power progression, and it's happening through spending real-world money. It's not unprecedented, of course. A lot of games do this, but generally those are free-to-play games. They're either mobile games or free-to-play live service titles. They're not games of the caliber of Star Citizen that have been funded to the tune of $800 million. Naturally then, I'm sure you can totally understand that the backlash from the community has been significant. So much so, in fact, that even some of the most die-hard fans of Star Citizen were actively rebelling against it. Ultimately, CIG did post a message. They have kind of backtracked somewhat. The blades are now going to be delayed and they're releasing in June. And when they do make an appearance, they're going to be obtainable via in-game methods as well as being obtainable via the official store. So yeah, apparently that makes things all right. Apparently it's no longer pay to win because you can now obtain them via gameplay. Unfortunately, I'm of the opinion that this does not fix things, not in any manner whatsoever, because this is monetization. This is pay to win at a foundational level, and it speaks volumes of CIG's plans and potential intentions in going forward. Of course, that is pure speculation at this point, but the way I see it, it really does open up the floodgates. For example, it's entirely possible that theoretically CIG could follow the following logic. Pay to upgrade ships, why not pay to upgrade your armor as well for your in-game avatar? Why not pay to upgrade your weapons or your ground vehicles? And of course, it makes sense that if you're going down this avenue that you can open up other monetization options, such as, well, things that we see in games like Black Desert, where you can pay to increase the resources that you can gather in the world around you. Maybe you can pay for an improved mining gun so you can mine at 110% the rate or 150% the rate, or maybe even 200% the rate of anyone who doesn't buy the same upgrade. To me, that is the fundamental flaw with CIG's approach here, and it's a very, very dangerous direction for the game overall. And my feeling here is that it's not just dangerous for the game itself, but it's also dangerous for trust in the community, trust between CIG and the project. Because, bottom line, once that door is opened, it's very, very hard to close. Okay, so moving on, I just want to very briefly touch on the overall funding, and this is where I'm somewhat confused. Obviously, like I said, I'm not a financial analyst, but from what we can see based on the public figures, CIG's funding tracker shows $822 million in revenue in crowdfunding. We also know there's some private equity investment as well. We also know that as of the end of their financial year 2023, they have spent $793 million. So whilst these figures aren't exactly the same, they're remarkably close, especially given the fact that the spending figures currently don't include 2024 or 2025 spending, something that we'll see released from CIG, some data we'll see officially released at a later date. So from a purely outsider perspective here, just speculating, it does seem that CIG are almost spending as much as they are taking in. That appears to be what these figures are suggesting, and I'm not alone in saying that. A lot of people out there are suggesting the same thing, both on forums as well as respective videos over on YouTube. The fact remains, we don't actually know what's going on in terms of financial figures. It's just more to the point that what's available publicly, the information here that we can all see via the official publications from CIG, just paint somewhat of a uncertain picture. At least that seems to be the way. And largely because we don't have their spending figures for 2024 just yet, or indeed the first part of 25. And understandably, that's led to some speculation as to, well, maybe that's why CIG are introducing these other monetization options. At any rate, let me know what you think about all of this in the video, in the comment section rather. Have CIG pushed things too far? Is that what you feel? Do you not care about these additional monetization options? Do you consider them a pay to win? Whatever your thoughts, do let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.